We did the shout-outs. Now I want to talk to my people, man. Now look, now this show, it's a humble show, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate it. And I'm pouring all my soul into this show for several years. To support this show and to also get something that's memorable, go ahead and pick up a Tim Black Legacy mug. This is the legacy of the Tim Black Show. You know what that means? The legacy of the Tim Black Show, man, it's not just a name, man. It's what we have. Legacy is what you're building every day when you're just doing what you do. When you're just making it happen every day, it's the grind. It's the culmination of all the time that you put in, man. And that's what I build. I build a legacy here with the Tim Black Show. Politics for the people. That's the legacy. Now, you can get a piece of this legacy for only $20 to your doorstep. I'll take care of the shipping. It's hater-free, sucker-free. And it can stand up to your microwave and your dishwasher. Republicans, conservatives, libertarians, doesn't matter. It ain't a partisan. It's a nonpartisan mug. To get yours, go to blackmug.com. Pick up a mug or two. Shout out to the most recent recipients of the mug and all those who have purchased one. While supplies last, you too can get one of these. Tim Black's Legacy mug, $20. It's important. I say, folks, it is important to hold down our ancestors, man. It's important to stand up for those who have, paved the way along the way, Those people a lot of people have donated their time and their lives to a craft of telling the truth, man. So we're going to try to keep in that same vein and that same tradition of doing that right here tonight, guys. Give it up for those people that stood in the gap and told the truth, man. Ain't a lot of them, man. It ain't many, but it's plenty. Give it up. Damn, I'm feeling a little bit historical tonight. I don't know what that is. I don't script this stuff. Wow, what's on our agenda, Tim Black? I'm glad you asked. We got Venezuelan deportations. PBS, NPR money. Should they be getting it? Should they not be getting our money to run their organizations? Then we got what everyone's talking about is SignalGate. Well, we're going to talk about it a little bit different because we're going to cut through the nonsense. Yeah. Lot going on. It's not always what we're talking about. It's the way we talk about it. It's the way you talk about the thing. Because you can talk about a great topic or a topic that's interesting, that's intriguing. But if you ain't got no sauce on it, if you're just saying, if you're just trying to sound like, I don't know, if you're trying to sound like Dan Rather, or you just want to imitate a news reporter, well, we can get that on the news. And if you ain't going to say nothing real about how you really feel, I don't know, man. Don't resonate. So we're going to be knocking them out tonight. So, Venezuelan deportations, PBS, NPR money, SignalGate. But we're going to start here. We're going to start here with Crockett mocks Texas Governor Abbott. That's our lead story, man. Wow. That's our lead story. This is going to be something, I tell you, man, I'm looking forward to talking about this, man. I'm feeling a certain kind of way to get to talk about this, because it's so much I want to say on this topic, First of all, I want people to know when you see Jasmine Crockett, you're seeing Jasmine Crockett, but you ain't seeing Jasmine Crockett. You're seeing the power of the Democratic Party in operation. You're seeing the tiny hand. How many people here are fans of that show? What's that show? The one with the dragons. What's that show? A lot of people love it. A lot of people love that show. The guy with the tiny hand. They called him Tiny Hand because he worked behind the scenes. What's that show? Made a lot of money, guys. Who knows it? Who knows what I'm talking about? I know somebody knows. My favorite show. What's the name of it? Oh, thank you, T. Game of Thrones, Rude Boy in the house. That's it. Oh, man. Look, man, my family, Tobia said my favorite show. Tobias said my favorite show. He was talking about this show. My bad, Tobias. Thank you, fam. Blue Boy and Buck Bewley came over the top. They said the truth, but they said with the topic I was looking for. Game of Thrones. Thank you both, as always. Oh, I like this. This is dope. Had a little pictures and stuff. I changed a couple things about the show. Make things stand out a little bit more when people shout out stuff. Where was I? Oh, when you see Jasmine Crockett, you're not just seeing Jasmine Crockett. You are seeing the Democratic Party with their powers to be at work. You're seeing the tiny hand of the Democratic Party, the whims of the Democratic Party. When you see Jasmine Crockett, you ain't just seeing Jasmine Crockett. You are seeing all those who have come before her who have been put in that slot. And what I mean by that is, I heard a story about Angela Rye. Yeah, Angela Rye. I heard a story about her. Someone was talking about her recent dust up on CNN where she got into an argument. Well, when she checked Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary inadvertently had touched her. At least he said it was inadvertent. He said he meant it in a nice way. He was trying to get her attention, I guess. I don't know what he's trying to do. But she very quickly, very, very boldly shut him down. Don't touch me. This is my personal space. You don't have to touch me. And that conversation, not to get into that, but just to bring up, during that conversation or doing that unraveling of that situation, I ran across the statement someone said about Angela Rye. They said that Angela Rye, once upon a time, they told her, they said, we want you on CNN. We need you to do the sister girl. Yeah, they said they want you to do sister girl. Yeah. See, when we look at that Jasmine Crockett, we ain't just looking at Jasmine Crockett, we look at Angela Rye. Want to do the sister girl. See, Jasmine Crockett is not being Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is being an archetype. She's being a stereotype. Okay? And this ain't not for her own device. I mean, she is doing her own free will. I mean, she's an intelligent woman. Couple of degrees, very successful. She's a member of Congress. She was a state legislator. She's an attorney. She went to great schools. She has great parents. But she ain't just being herself. She being, well, she got to be on that TV screen, on that slot. Because you only know Jasmine Crockett because of what she's been doing. Yeah, see, Jasmine Crockett, I was spending a lot of time talking about her, and I had people saying, Tim, why are you talking about her? Because she in the news. That's why I talk about things in the news. I do breaking news, black culture, and politics. I do about 10 stories a night. She's just one of them. But it's a funny thing, Johnson. When I put out Jasmine Crockett content, people watch it. Ain't my fault. I mean, tonight we're going to do about 15 clips. Only a couple of them going to have Jasmine Crockett in it. But once again, because she is, she's a talk of the town right now. Same thing happened when Hunter Biden was on trial, and same thing happened when there's an election, you talk about candidates. Well, when the news cycle comes through, that's what you talk about. But see, Jasmine Crockett, man, as much as I report on her, I gotta take a little time. I just gotta say, as I do this segment, I want you to understand something. Jasmine Crockett is no more than a placeholder for what Democrats see black women as. The box they want to put us in. That's what she's playing. She's not even being her. She being what them people want her to be. I want you to understand that. And before you break out the pitchforks to eat the rich, because that's convenient, start with your damn selves, because you know what? It's only the archetype, stereotype they wanted to play because they know that's what works with you. Yeah, see, I was looking back at one of my videos. A lot of people missed it because, I don't know what they were thinking. They were thinking stuff. And I got to admit, I didn't point it out. I was wondering if anyone was going to catch it. Plies was on an insult profane-laced rant. And in that rant, he said, y'all think, no, that's not what I'm going to do. He said, y'all doing what y'all want to do. Y'all want to go vote for a racist white man, go vote for him, but I ain't going to vote for him. Because these MFers and these MFers and these MFers. Then he said something that resonated, and he said, nah. See, I know what it is with y'all. Motor scooting black people. Y'all motor scooting black people think that all motor scooting black people are ignorant. That's what you want to see. You want to see motor scooting black people be ignorant. That's probably why y'all like motor scooting Donald Trump, because y'all like ignorance. Ply said that. I sat with that statement for a minute. You know, because sometimes you got to sit back and think about it. Now he flipped it and made it about Trump. He was surrogating. He was advocating for Kamala Harris. He was talking about black people not wanting to vote for Kamala, saying she got to do more. She got to show us that she's going to do something for black people. So he was trying to shame black people for wanting to see Kamala, and they didn't think Kamala was black. So he's shaming, saying, you want to see her act this type of way. This ain't the way she going to act. Black people don't have to act ignorant. America loves that, man. America loves people that act like that. It's not just black folks. When black folks do it, we got a name for it. It's called stereotypes. It's called minstrel show. It's called step fashion. It's called exploitation, right? White people do it too. That's Trump ain't exactly being the guy he was educated to be, you know, sometimes when he's talking. I mean, he on purpose, Trump on purpose, talks to a fourth grade level of vocabulary on purpose. So did Bush. I mean, it works. But black women have been playing this is the role that black women have been given in the Democratic Party when it comes to getting in the limelight. Like, it is an opportunity for them to turn up, because that's what the role calls for. The role calls for that. If Jasmine Crockett did not do that, you know how many women there are in Congress? A lot. There are the black women in Congress. You know what? I don't even think Jasmine Crockett really likes doing this to that extent. I mean, it's a thing to an end, you know. You see it work for Trump, why not do it? I mean, you see what works. But to do it, you got to be unabashed. To do it, you have to be bold and brave, courageous, and all these things. And as Ply said, and he would know, because Plies, while he was advocating for Kamala Harris, he dropped 50. Now, I'm not even exaggerating. He dropped about 50 MFs in a row with some F-bombs and some other stuff in a video about voting for her. And Plies is an educated young man with degrees, with a degree, at least one degree, one bachelor's, who talks about drug dealing, shooting people, who's 45 years old and has a degree, and now he's canvassing for a political, for the vice president of the United States, and he's dropping F-bombs and MFs. And he said in defense of Kamala, y'all motor scooting black people want to see motor scooting black people act ignorant, because that's what y'all like. He was talking about himself, because he knows. He know his record sales. I got a feeling that Plies know his record sales were directly connected to his ability to show his ass. In fact, if he did not put on a certain persona, he probably wouldn't have been able to get a contract. He probably would not have had a contract. So I don't know, man. I just want to point this out as we go through this journey, man. I have several bones to pick with the Democratic Party. One of them is this. See, black people don't have to do what Jasmine Crockett has to do. to be in the Republican Party. Now they get shamed because they say they don't speak up enough about black issues in the Republican Party. So black people that are with the Republicans get chastised and ridiculed and all this stuff, mocked by other black people for being with a party that we deem socially is deemed as being, connected to white culture, or I don't know, just not supporting black issues the way the Democrats are, because we all know how they fight for us. But the black folks in the Democratic Party, well, they get, it's like a boilerplate, I don't know. I'm going to continue to flesh this idea out. I think this is something that we need to talk about, and we should address it, and we should, really have that conversation, because it's serious talk. Because I had people thinking they're defending Jasmine Crockett by saying, hey, she act like regular people. We like the way she talk when she talk that way. Why do you like when people talk like that? Why do you like that? Obama didn't talk that way. You thought he was amazing. You wanted to name, schools have been named after him. Why do you want people to turn up and curse on live TV and insult people and do all this? Why is that? Why is that admirable? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why that's admirable. I mean, I know why I do it. I'm a talk show host, man. There's different jobs. I know why Eddie Griffin does it. I know why he does it. I know why Patrice O'Neal did it. I know why Corey Holcomb does it. I know why Dave Chappelle does it. I know why, I know why Bill Burr does it. I know why Cat Williams does it. I know why. They're comedians. They put on the show. They're entertaining. They're projecting life and all these things. That's what they're doing. I don't know if it's the same thing when you are an anchor on a news broadcast. Like if you were Angela Rye, they want to see her. I mean, I'm literally reading stuff where they were saying, how there's an Essence magazine. Look it up. It's an Essence magazine article talking about the 5 best moments of Angela Rye. This is written like in 2017 and 2018. And all of them consisted of rolling her neck, squinting her eyes, rolling her eyes, checking him. I mean, this is what they wrote in Essence. It wasn't 100 years ago, 50 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 10 years ago. I mean, it was like 5 years ago. Something like that. 5, 6, 7 years ago. Her top moments were all stereotypical sister girl moments. And that's what she got ink for. I don't think. Now, I've had my issues with Angela Rye. This ain't about my personal feelings about anybody. This is about the truth. And all I'm saying is, Angela Rye's probably done a lot with a law degree and for her accolades that she's received. She probably wants people to write about it for something more than when she rolled her neck. And we're doing the same thing with Jasmine Crockett, too. Same exact thing. And did the same thing with Maxine Waters. As accomplished as Maxine Waters is, I don't see Maxine Waters and she ain't yelling at somebody acting irate. Only time I see her. That's it. People say, Tim Black, like, why these people do this? Why they do that? Why they? When do you see them? They are walking around doing things all the other times when you don't see them, right? You do get that, right? Okay. They're doing stuff. You're just not seeing them. Then when you see them, what are they doing? What are they doing then? They doing something. What, you think they were sleeping like vampires in a coffin? Then they get up and do one stereotypical thing, one loud thing, get out of my face. Really? Call somebody a hoe, call Trump a hoe, and then go sit down and sleep for another 36 hours, get up and call somebody else today? Nah, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to say one last thing. I had a Republican consultant. We had a good conversation. We talked for like 90 minutes. It was very interesting. Saw my show, hit me up, black conservative, who said, I like your show, man. I like what you're putting down, man. Now, he said, I'm conservative, but I'm not Republican. I'm an independent, and this is how I feel, and this is how I feel. And that's what I do. And we got to talking about these issues. And he said, I said, man, what is it, man? Do they get a starter kit when they come in? What's up? What are they giving them? What are they telling them? Who gives them the talk? Someone takes them in the back and tells them, hey, you need to not support black people issues for real, for real. You need to do window dressing, make a lot of noise, make a mockery of yourself, behave like a stereotype, and then if you want to survive in this business or thrive. He said, no, it's worse than that, Tim. It's more insidious. They don't have to talk to them. They already know. So nobody had to Jasmine Crockett. No one had to drag Jasmine Crockett to the side and put her up on game. She knows because she's a black woman in America, maneuvering through America. And you know what works. She's just doing what works. And you like it because you like the way it works. Those that like it. They like that. That's what they think is normal. They think that's what black people should do. That's called the culture. Someone said, Tim Black, the culture is Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen. Not no more. Pam Grier. Well, Pam Grier had a moment too, didn't she? Be honest. It's a certain kind of strength, though. Certain difference, though. I don't know. A little bit different. I don't know, man. I'm just thinking, guys, don't mind me. I just don't want the coverage to be so superficial that we don't take a moment and take it all in, because it's actually pretty robust conversation we have, and it's kind of serious stuff. You're not defending Jasmine Crockett by saying, that's how she's supposed to be. This is good. Now, you defending her. Don't get it twisted. No, you're defending her. But what are you defending? Because that ain't her. That is not her. That's not who she is. Moving on, guys. Let's get started. Tonight, lead stories, Crockett mocks the Texas governor. Let's get cracking.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey.
So that's the statement that got her in trouble. That's the one that may get her censored. I don't know. I don't know if it's this or if it's smacking a phone out of a reporter's hand. I don't know. I really don't know at this point what they're going to get, what's going to happen, what the issues are, everything that's on the table, but that's what it happened. That's where it originated.
So yes.
Written by nice.
And people were quick to bring up, well, look, if you're going to be upset with Jasmine Crockett's antics, you got to start with Donald Trump, because we all know Donald Trump, he did this.
Reporter, now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said. This is 14 years ago. They didn't do a retraction.
So we got Jasmine Crockett making fun of Governor Abbott's disability, the paralysis. We got Trump mocking someone, and I don't know exactly what the disability was. Differently able situation, I'm not sure what it is. It was a reporter, though. And Trump was running for office, right? I don't know. They said, Tim Black, how is this a problem? Why are people coming for Jasmine Crockett? Nobody came for Trump. What? No one came for Trump? Really? No one talked about Trump? I mean, the level of hypocrisy you gotta have. Folks, people been coming at Trump for the last 10 years nonstop. I literally know people, literally. I love that. I hate that word, but I like using it. I know people in this business that do what I do who've been talking about Trump since 2015. They are now multimillionaires, quietly making millions of dollars. That's all they've been doing for the last 10 years. And when people would say dumb stuff like, won't you talk about something else? They go, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. They do their money like a deck of cards. What'd you say? I can't hear you. Oh, I know you said something. I can't hear you as I count my paper. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what this is right here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know what you talking about over there. Yeah, you go ahead. No, you cover that for me. You go ahead and cover that. Good for you. Great journalism work. They're gonna make a shrine for you when you die. Me, I'll be giving my kids some money. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. You know? Yeah, baby. Yeah, we go ahead and fold that up. That in here. Shit, who we fooling? Put this in the safe. Shit. See, that's what I've been seeing happen. So, but to say that, look, I'm not defending what Trump did here at all. That's the thing. I'm not defending Donald Trump's actions. I don't have to. I don't have to defend his actions. Trump will get ridiculed more than anybody else in America about anything he does. You already know that. The difference with Trump is he doesn't make an excuse for what he did. You say, hey, why were you making fun of him? He's a horrible person. He deserves it. Moving on. He doesn't try to say, I meant something else. Why would you think I meant what I meant? Slight difference. Can't both people be wrong? That's all I'm saying. Can't both people be wrong? I mean, comedians make jokes all the time. Neither one of these people were comedians when they did these jokes. It is what it is. And when you got to bring up a whataboutism, aren't you just admitting that she was wrong? That's why you got to bring somebody else up to defend it, because it can't be defended on its own. It requires you to offer up something else to compare it to mitigate the offense, which is basically just admitting it was the wrong thing to do. But that's too much like simple. We can't do that in our political environment, even amongst ourselves on the internet, when none of us are responsible for any parties. We're just being private citizens. We still can't admit water is wet, grass is green, the sky is blue, Morse chestnut does not age. Like, these are things, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I should have went another route with that, but you should understand what I'm saying. You get it.
That reporter he is talking about is Serge Kovaleski, who now works for the New York Times. As you can see right there, he suffers from a chronic condition that impairs movement of his arms.
Heart and a pain, and it's been amazing.
Now, I already knew. I knew for a fact that Jasmine Crockett was not referring to some abstract meaning when she mentioned Hot Wheels, because I've covered this. Now, I didn't cover it because of a statement about Governor Abbott. I covered it because of some of the things that Crockett compared to reparations, like black people getting clean water and clean air in their city that they paid to live in. And I thought was bogus as hell. Oh, I was hot with Karen Hunter. Yeah, I was hot. How Karen Hunter gonna have this woman on here and this brother from MSNBC bring up the topic of reparations and let this woman sit here, a representative from Texas, sit here and say, well, it's not like black people don't get anything. We do have water. I made sure people in my district, we're fighting cases to get them water and air that doesn't kill them. That's something. And Karen let it slide. So that's why I covered it. I did not cover it for this. But now that we bring it up.
To watch some legal mind, I feel like we need a legal strategy around how we protect ourselves. This woman has been going hard in the paint, and it's been amazing to watch. If you live in Texas and you don't know her, get your life.
Yeah, I had a problem with that though. She said it's amazing to watch a woman show her ass like that. It's amazing to watch. She going hard in the paint, calling white people names and stuff. We love that, man. It's a something about being black, man. You just love seeing that. And you go up against the power structure, man. That's where it comes from. I understand where it comes from. But see, my job is to advocate for Black America. None of that got anything to do with advocating for Black America. It's a good show. It's interesting. It can make you famous, but it don't do shit for us. That's something for her. I'm disappointed that older people like her and Hunter and this brother here would not correct this sister on this issue. They would let it ride as if it's beneficial to Black America that she does that. Anyway.
Live in this country and you don't know her, please get your life. Texas is 30th district. I got a lot of questions about Texas. Let me welcome to the show the great Representative Jasmine Crockett. Is
just to call somebody great as a freshman representative, just to call them great, and they haven't done any legislative wins. Like, what are you talking about? What was great? Oh, okay, the acting. Doesn't seem like Miss Hunter was being very serious. Neither was Miss Crockett. Neither was his brother. Very excited to meet his friend live on the show. Let's keep going, Tim Black. Keep going.
Here. Hello.
Hey, Karen. How are you?
Everything that is happening. So they need you to stay there, to stand in the gap, which you have been doing brilliantly. I wanted to ask this question as, people have a pejorative name for Governor Abbott. I won't use it on the airwaves, even though I'm thinking it right now. 13 other governors.
There it is. Karen Hunter says, people have a pejorative name for Governor Abbott. I won't say it on the airwaves, although I'm thinking it right now, and they all smiled and laughed. Because the Hot Wheels comment is something they use all the time. Like it's a regular, it's a sting term they use. Like, I don't know, Nixon was Tricky Dicky. Called him Tricky Dicky. What was Reagan's nickname? I don't know. Barack Obama, Barry B. I don't know. It's Bird B. I forget. I don't remember what their names were. Sleepy Joe. That was Trump gave that to Biden. Sleepy Joe. Trump's been giving out a lot of nicknames. So apparently a pejorative nickname for Governor Abbott is Hot Wheels. So why couldn't Jasmine Crockett just stand on it and say, I made a joke, that's all it was? Yeah, so if it was taking a bad taste, it was just making light of the moment, had a good time. I roasted him a little bit, but I didn't mean anything by it. And I wish him and his family well. And if he was offended or if his family was offended, well, I apologize. Didn't mean to offend you. I mean, you could say that, but I guess that apologize part is the hard part. Let's keep going because I think Karen Hunter comes back and she clears the air on this.
Came and descended as Texas's, I guess now they are trying to sit Jasmine Crockett down. And this was an unforced error on her part. It was unnecessary for you to refer to that governor as Governor Hot Wheels in a public forum where you're on the, what you do behind closed doors, y'all in Texas all do it. I've heard it. You don't get up in front of a microphone where people are recording you, ma'am, and you already in the crosshairs and call this man Governor Hot Wheels. You don't do that. I'm sorry. You don't do that. It was unforced. I rock with you till the wheels fall off. But that was an unforced error. And now they're going to not stop until she sat down. And it was so unnecessary. So I've been asking this question a lot. Those of us who have spaces, is this necessary? Is this necessary? And it's not about being afraid. It's unnecessary because you can get your point across. And this is a message to myself. I'm talking to myself right now because I'm on here every day. It could slip out. I'm just letting you know. I'm not immune to having that same unforced error, which is why I'm saying it.
First of all, have you met MAGA? Have you been?
I just want to note that, Karen Hunter, she addressed it. She hit it head on. And we can be critical. We can also give our props and acknowledge when somebody stands up and says something that is on the money. Yeah, it was an unforced error. There's other ways to get your point across. If you're a lawmaker, if you're just a person doing content, if you're just a radio host, that on her, I think she does, I don't know what kind of radio she does, Sirius FM? I don't know what you can get away with there. Do they have to follow FCC guidelines? I don't know. I don't think they do. So I don't know why she would not be able to say what she wants to say. But I can say whatever I want to say. It's just, I don't know, do you have to say it? I guess that's the point. So shout out to her. So now they're talking about it on, here we go on CNN panel, they're going to talk about it. Let's get into their conversation about it. Let's see what the people on the round table have to say.
To a MAGA rally where Trump is mocking a disabled journalist or a POW or saying we should punch him out. I mean, it is rich. And let me tell you, I have been very, very out there on criticizing Trump for that disgusting, disgusting rhetoric that has coarsened the language around politics. It's gross. He's why we got here. And what she did was disgusting. And I am not going to.
Nah, he's not why we got here. We got here because people like it. It's because people like it. Like, once again, like, I'm aware of this. Like, anybody in media knows whatever works, other people are going to imitate it. We got here because it worked for him. And he had to see somebody else do something similar and say, ooh, I'm going to turn it up a notch. He didn't invent roasting people. Black people, I think we invented roasting people. I know we've been roasting people since, I've been roasting people since I was a kid. We used to do that on the stoops at Surrey Square Apartments in Prince George's County over here off Suitland Road. That's where I grew up, and we would literally sit outside, we would sit outside on the steps at night, three different buildings of us, me and my friends, and we just make jokes about each other. Who goes in the house crying first loses. And trying to be too sensitive, because you got to fight everybody if you do that. And that's what we did. We roasted. We played the dozens. This goes back a long ways. But as it pertains to politics, there's always been name calling in politics. Trump just ran it together in a sequence and made it more, he just made it more front and center of what he did. But those rallies where he talked off script, I think they afforded him the latitude. It boasted him. And then in response from the crowd, let's be real, man. Trump did it because he saw a response from the crowd. Anything you see people do over and over again, unless they're complete idiots, they're only doing it because it works. So anybody watching Donald Trump do this type of business, this type of media engagement, they know he did it because it worked. And I think Crockett and others are just pupils, though they hate to admit it. They would never admit that. But those in the media business would know. We know. If we're smart. Now, I ain't always been that smart in the media business. It took me years to figure stuff out. But this I'm sure of. This is not new. Trump did not invent it. Ranking and roasting each other, politically roasting and calling names, that ain't new. It's just Trump did it better than most. That's all. And that's why you're saying it, because he's been the most successful with doing it. That's also important. He's been successful. He's a two-term president now from doing this, in part. So yeah, don't throw it away like it's just, he does it and it's horrible. No, we're horrible. America's horrible. Because we like it. If we didn't like it, he wouldn't be president. If doing this was a problem, really, he wouldn't be president. Again. Right? And he didn't sneak in doing this. He didn't sneak in, was all, buttoned up, and then he got in office and started doing it. He was doing this on the campaign trail back in 2015, 2016, before he got elected. So we can't act as if, I guess we can act any way we want. But let's be realistic. We enjoy it. We enjoy the theater. We enjoy the show. Difference is Jasmine Crockett is a freshman congressperson and a black woman out of Texas by way of Missouri. And Donald Trump's the president of the United States. A little bit difference there, a little difference. Stature, what you can get away with, well, what they can take from you. There ain't much you can take from Trump, right? He wasn't a part of any committees. You can't censor him. He wasn't a part of Congress. What could you do except turn off the TV? And who wanted to do that? Turn off the TV of the sideshow of him roasting people, beating up everybody in the political aisle, the Republicans, beating up everybody on that stage in 2015, 2016. Come on, he was destroying them left and right. Who wants to cut that off? Little Marco Rubio?
Accept her spin of this. It's disgusting and gross to mock someone who is disabled just because you don't like them. And if Democrats, this is your idea, this is what your party's going to do now, is do Trump but gross but worse and then pretend it's not. I'm not here for this, and please do better. Please, this cannot be the answer for the future of the Democratic Party.
I mean, I think actions speak louder than words. And in this instance, I think we have a president who, when the plane crash happened in Washington, D.C., he blamed it on people with disabilities. When RFK says that autism is a threat to the American way of life, which is a disability, apparently the White House has ended ASL, American Sign Language interpreters, in briefings, which is making it inaccessible. Questioning and gutting Social Security, which a lot of disabled people rely on, Medicaid, Medicare, people rely on. And in his first campaign, mocking disability. Two wrongs don't make a right, but actions speak louder than words. And the policies of the Republican, including undermining special education, ID, the Individuals with Disability and Education Act, making sure that schools are not going to be accessible. Those are the actions of this administration. Those are the actions of the Republican Party. I would rather folks be demonizing those things than...
But to be clear, you don't agree with what she said, right?
Well, her explanation was that she...
She just gave a whole bunch of disclaimers and a bunch of distractions and whataboutisms for what was done. And a lot of them we could go... I just want to say, man, I wish they would really stop talking about cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Because that hasn't actually happened. And no one's lost their Social Security, Medicaid, or Medicare. No one. And if you trim the budget of something, it doesn't mean it's coming out of the benefits. How about coming out of some of the cushy salaries of people that don't do shit all day except sit and watch their email? How about that? But see, we don't want to be real and say, hey, maybe we could cut some expenses. Why did government grow 10, 20% under Joe Biden? Why did it grow? Why did the government budget grow 10 to 20% just under Biden's tenure? What increased? Did the croissant price go up that much? Is a good cup of coffee in the office that much more now than it was in 2020? Like, really, what happened? How is it like I hear people saying, I watched a long video of people saying Trump destroying America, doing this, doing that, he's trying to gut all our institutions. Hey, dog, trying to take pricing back to 2020 pricing is not destroying America's budgets. Like, some of you right now are living on your 2020 budget, and it's just fine. You're supposed to live within below our means, just in case, right? That's what I was taught. Why come government never does that? Oh, I know why. Because they're not using their money. You're running a business with other people's money. So they just up the money every time so they have more money to play with. Get it? But it's your money. And then when we want money spent on things that are important to us, actually things that we want done in our communities, they always say they don't have the money. So what I would like to see happen, Allison and everybody else that's on this who just hears this CNN commentary and jump out the room on it, what we need to do is say, okay, Trump, you cut all of this on the budget. What you gonna do with it? And don't just say, send it to me, us. We could say that for a portion. How about we say, what are we gonna do with it now to help our communities? What can we do with that money that's gonna actually impact us? Because we all know only like 30% of USA money went to help actual people. We know that now. We've done some research. We didn't just sit back and watch MSNBC and listen to NPR, listen to CNN complain about cuts. We read and we realized, hey, a lot of that money went places that didn't actually feed people. That was sort of the camouflage, all the other stuff they were doing. I wonder if that's what they've been doing in other agencies. Very interesting. So, yeah, and Allison, why you just can't say she shouldn't have done this shit? Oh, that's right. Like I said, we can't be honest. Honesty is not the policy of the liberal commentator. Got to defend it. Got to defend it.
Wasn't referring to that policy. If she
So
was,
you buy that?
But here's the thing. If you make fun of somebody because of their disability, I do not agree with that. As a person with a disability, as a person who has family members with a disability, as a person who has taught children with a disability.
Then why didn't you just say that? Why you say you don't agree with what she did?
That is not acceptable.
Okay.
She said that's not what she was doing. And so I know Jasmine, and I believe Jasmine if that's what she.
Well, you know what? There are people that know Donald Trump that think that Donald Trump's a really nice guy. Onward.
He was saying.
Well, I don't know her yet, and so here's how I see it. She's new, she's young, and she's trying to find her way. I think
she ain't that young. She's almost 45 years old. Come on, Johnson. She's older than many of us who grew up in the Generation X, like I did, under the crack era, coming out of the realms of the crack era. She's older than we imagine ourselves ever living. What are you talking about? That's part of my anger about it. It'd be different if she was Glorilla's age. She's twice Glorilla's age. And doing this in front of young black women, knowing that if they acted like this on their jobs, they will lose their damn jobs. And people are holding it up like this is great, like this is amazing, knowing if they go into their job, if you got a job, if you go into your job and conduct yourself the way Jasmine Crockett does, that may be the last time you go to work there. And it's being held up like this is great activity. This is something to be proud of. And at the end of the day, it maybe you could make that argument, dog, if it was bringing us some type of returns. All it's bringing is sound bites and popularity to her. How does it help black people? Lawmakers are supposed to help us. How does this help us? And no one wants to address that. And that's what I'm talking about. Now, if you can show me how this actually put money on the table or money in the pockets or roof overhead or contributed to some way helping black people get off the bottom, if it somehow reduced the unemployment, reduced the underemployment, reduced the homeless rate, something, increased the reading ability of black children, something that it's doing that helps somebody other than Jasmine. I mean, God bless her. She's probably a very special person. And I'm sure her mom and her dad and her friends love her. And I'm sure Allison loves her. Ashley Allison loves her, as we just heard. But, yo, we can't just cheer for shit because we like people. We can't condone what people do just because you like them. Because people like Republicans too, and I don't see you cheering for them because of that. I mean, what holds true on one side holds true on the other side. But once again, my job is to advocate for black Americans, and too many black Americans, in my opinion, are being I forget the word that happens with the vampires. That's seduced, gloried or glowed or glamored. That's it. Too many people are being glamored. Too many of us are being glamored by this display. And that helps Jasmine Crockett. It got her all the way on the Stephen Colbert show, on DNC convention, got a character on SNL. Yeah, that's great. How that benefits us, I don't know. You know, Charleston White's doing pretty good too. And so is Andrew Tate. And so was the guys, whatever. There's other people. Right? Okay. But what does that do for us?
I think that this party is scrambling, trying to seem tough. And I'm seeing this party traffic in a lot of curse words. That's supposed to be like the new cool thing to do. I don't think that that's going to be as useful. I've even heard Pete Buttigieg with a whole bunch of curse words. I don't know who gave that memo. I don't think that's very useful. I think you have to be very careful when you're talking about people with disabilities. And I don't think she was careful. And I don't know her enough to say she's not being honest. But I'm going to tell you, it sounded bad. And I just want to finish. I think this party is trying to find a way to look tough and to show fight.
That's sad. So Pete Buttigieg, I didn't even watch it. Pete Buttigieg now is cursing because Jasmine Crockett. That's crazy. That's hilarious, man. I got to get that. We got to do a clip of that. I mean, most of my audience won't give a damn to watch it, but it'll be funny. I'll still do it because enough of you might care that it will be funny.
But this is not the way. I don't think the cursing is going to work. I think I've been on stage and I've gotten a little bit hyped sometimes too. I hope that she will take this as lessons. You talked about learning lessons, that type of stuff. It doesn't sound to me like she's actually taking full responsibility. If that's true, I don't like it, and she can't do that again. She's too important to us to do that again.
What I fear is that no lesson could ever be learned as long as you're doing these things in front of audiences who roar when you do it. When you have comedians who are broad messengers for the left making unfair jokes and people are roaring, when you have politicians being vulgar and saying it in their roaring, what's the lesson?
We're trying.
What's the audience? It says a lot about the audience.
But what we're trying to deal with is that Trump has done this and he's been successful.
Yeah.
So when you have somebody who does this stuff and they're successful, you start thinking, well, is that the right way? I would like for us to say it's not. But I think it's hard for us to hear Republicans.
Damn, man, stop stealing my material, man. How did you know that's what I was going to say before I said it? Damn it. I want $100 million.
Scolding us on it when your guy does it all the time. We are trying to find a way forward. Jasmine is too important to make these kinds of mistakes. I think.
No, she's not, because she's only known because of what she's doing. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not important, and she's only known for her antics. In fact, people are always like, well, Tim, why don't you talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because my audience doesn't give a damn about her. That's why. Largely my audience is Black American, and they see her in the clip. They're not even going to watch the shit. That's what it is. They scroll Netflix and don't see a Black person in the thumbnail. They're like, screw this. I know. I look at the numbers. People tell you what they like. People tell you what's important to them. And then there's what people are really react to, what they really engage with. And it is what it is. Van Jones is right, and so am I. I said it before I watched this clip. It is what it is. When I look at my analytics, which show everybody, not just you, I'm sure I got people that want to hear about Marjorie Taylor Greene. They want to hear about all these other things. I know, who don't care about the superficial theatrics. I know that's how you feel. I'm telling you what my Google Analytics shows me people feel. And when, just like Charleston White, when he drops F-bomb and calls out these people and says these crazy things, when Jaguar Wright says these things that are crazy, whatever, when Kanye West says these things, when Andrew Tate says these things, when Adam 22, when Vlad TV, when anybody does this, Yiannopoulos, that's his name. I was going to give when Yiannopoulos, when Alex Jones was talking about the people were turning the frogs gay, when he was saying that lizard people are coming to eat us, his numbers went through the roof. Because that's what people reacted to, man. It's what it is. And it's difficult to tell somebody don't do something that works when people are responding to it. It takes a moral center.
She has a bright future. I hope that tonight she's looking and says, you know what? I don't have to do that kind of stuff to get an applause line. She's too important for us to make those kind of mistakes.
And her tweet, her not so apology, I would call it, she said she was talking about his policies. Let's look at the policies of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a state that my parents reside in. 2023, 2024, it was the #1 state that most Americans moved to, a Republican state. The second largest economy in the country. It would be the 8th if it were indeed a country itself. The fastest job growth in America right now is out of Texas. That's Republican policies. Those are conservative policies. That's why Republicans maintain leadership in 2024
it's also the state
moving forward.
Where women.
Yeah, he just shut that down. He just shut that down. Yeah. So moment of pause for Michael Singleton shutting down that conversation. When people are dumping on Texas, because I've heard it a lot because they don't like Abbott, you're doing something that's working. You're doing some things, yeah. That's the numbers. You can make your arguments. I know Ashley's about to make her arguments. I think it's going to be a whataboutism or that or an isolated issue. We'll see.
Don't have the right to bodily autonomy. A woman literally just died from not
and
being
it's the state with the greatest economic prosperity in this country. Those are good policies that she said she's against.
I guess people didn't care that much about having those procedures done enough to stop them from moving to Texas, because you just said the most moved in state. So I guess that did hurt the numbers.
And don't run over dead women.
Yeah, and she tried to walk it back and obviously forgot about her
The new nickname I'll give for Beto O'Rourke is the king of the clapbacks. Beto's rolling all around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? Oh, shit. Yeah, she's been doing that. I guess she's been doing this for a couple of years now, huh? It's not even the first time she did the thing about his disability. Yeah, Kevin Hart Kevin Hart was unable to host the Oscars because of an old tweet where he said something similar about LGBTQ. A joke. And he's a comedian. And they took the hosting of the Oscars from him. And you want to act like it is wrong for people to be like, well, Jasmine did this wrong here. That's what? She didn't even lose anything. She didn't lose an opportunity to do something that's beneficial to her career, like host the Oscars. Just crazy. This is where we are, though.
previous commentary using that exact same insult. I don't know how the Democrats came to appoint Jasmine Crockett as the unquestioned leader of your party, but thank God. And I think what she should do is go on TV twice as much as she is right now, maybe 3 times as much, because every time she appears and makes one of these mistakes, says something radical, it only further divides her party from the rest of the other 80% of America who can't stand this. But the problem is there's an audience for it. I heard Jimmy Kimmel's audience cheering on Tesla vandalism. I hear the Daily Show audience cheering on attacks on Elon Musk. I hear the human rights audience cheering on an attack on a man in a wheelchair. And I realize this is what the left has become, an angry mob of people who are cheering on attacks on a guy in a wheelchair and vandalism against people who bought a Tesla. It's pathetic.
Next on.
Yeah, I guess it's yeah, that's a pretty good one, man. I tell you, people don't like Scott Jennings because they don't like a rebuttal to the Democrats. He made some good rebuttal. Man, you can't have a good conversation without having, you got a panel of people. You got to have somebody hang in there. It's usually 4 on 1, and he's still cleaning their clocks. Yeah, Republicans always get to acting, Christian-like. Christian-like. But, yeah, it's kind of hard to do that with Trump as the president when he's roasting people on a daily basis. But, once again, that argument only works when you whataboutism and you stop looking over here. And if her whole thing is Trump's the devil, the Antichrist, he's horrible, then you're emulating him in so many ways, which I've called out before with Jasmine Crockett. So she's doing a Donald Trump impersonation. Y'all don't see that? I don't see it, leave her alone. Okay. I won't, but yeah, I hear you talking. It's obvious. And there are other people doing the same thing. And now everybody wants to be Jasmine Crockett. People are just like, I'm voting for president. Let me get in here. With this awkward self, just let me get in here and say things. I think things that let me say, I think it's very obvious that we are in the situation where we are in, and we need to become better at it. Please, guys. I don't know. I think that Jasmine Crockett here, she made a mistake. So I'm gonna move on. It's not the end of the world. I see that she has security backing people up offers that don't ask her questions about the issue. That's hilarious. She needs security to keep her from saying wrong things. And, it is what it is. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section about this. I'm sure Governor Abbott, I saw his response. It gives Republicans an opportunity to mock Democrats and call Democrats mean, anti-Christian, or and questioning moral authority on issues, and that's all it does. Back to the horse race. All right, guys, give it up for that segment. Let's move on. Now, this is where I remind you that if you want to become a member of the Tim Black Show, you get special access to stuff first. When I do special videos, I started some last week. I'm gonna do another one. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow. Also, you get access to my whole library of content. I got so much stuff posted in Patreon that other people just don't know about. They got to sift through my damn YouTube channel. And I got too many videos. I got 6,000 videos on YouTube. So that's going to be a lot of work. But if you go to Patreon, if you become a Patreon member, it's so much easier to find my content. It starts at only $5 a week. I'm sorry, $5 a month. A month, Johnson. Wish it was $5 a week. That'd be good. Go to jointimblacktv.com. Also pick up a mug at timblackmug.com. There you go. Let's keep going, Johnson. We got more content. What's next? Is it SignalGate or is it, let's see.
Deck with Tim Black.
I think sometimes it's important to...
This is great. Now, this is going to be a short segment, but I think it's going to be very informative. This is about the numbers. I saw this segment, and I said, wow, this guy, man, I wonder if the Democrats are going to start bombing him. Like, they're going to come for his car. I don't know what kind of car he drives, but they're going to start keying his car, man, because I know they do not like these numbers this guy's about to put down. Let's just say the rumors of Donald Trump's demise have been greatly exaggerated.
It's pathetic.
Next on Deck with Tim Black.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024 when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
So when you do that, it makes my...
This guy does a lot of yoga, man, doesn't he? Just something's going on here. Very excitable number guy. It's a number guy with a lot of adrenaline, caffeine, or something going on here. Guy's punchy, but what he's saying is true. And that when I see them feasting on the numbers going, Trump is down, and Trump is down, Trump is down, Trump is down, like from himself. You're looking at the best numbers he's ever put up. And just saying, this guy's really in a slouch here. He's really stinking it up. He's looking vulnerable. Like what? He's not running again. At least I don't think it's illegal for him to run again. And his numbers are pretty good. And nationally, it's got to suck to be a Democrat because you got to somehow make a spin on this that makes you not lose all drive and ambition. Like, they got to come up with something to make them, keep going here. And there's not a lot of silver linings in this. That's what they're looking for. So when people watching CNN or any of the corporate media stuff, they got to realize that's really what's happening. Trump is doing what he's doing to the satisfaction of most of the people that voted for him. That's the other thing. So as angry as people are being on the Democrat side or the liberal side, it's pretty much all the numbers I see show that people people that voted for him are not regretting their vote. Put it that way. And that's what matters. Because that's how you impact the swing states come the midterms.
My knees hurt. So when you look at this compared to sort of historically, what does it tell you about the percentage of folks that think the country itself, with him at the helm, is on the right track?
This, I think, is rather important because, again, if the polls have historically underestimated Donald Trump, what is a metric that might get at understanding at how popular he may actually be? So let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Maris, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Maris has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country was on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track. And finally, Sarah Seidner, I want to put it all in the congressional.
Well, hold on. Let's hold real tight. This hold real tight because what he just said is just so profound. And this is why I've been saying, yo, shut it down, Johnson. All this noise, all this nonsense, all this racket, all the liberals like wringing their hands, some of them banging on their dressers, talking about, oh my God, Trump is destroying the country. Yeah, well, the country doesn't feel that way. The country feels actually more optimistic than they've ever felt. Do you look at the numbers here? I don't know who was in office in 2004. Obama, right? They feel more confident in Trump than they felt. It is what it is. I'm sorry, that's Bush. I'm sorry. Bush is 2004. Obama 2008. So I'll take that back. Bush, which is good still. Like, bump it. It's a big deal. Look at November 2024 with Biden here, 27%. And when you look at 27%, when you say Biden, only 27% of people thought we were on the right track with Biden in office of Americans. As a poll, some people don't believe polls. If you don't believe polls, this segment is not for you. It's about polling. But if only 27% of Americans thought we were on the right track with Biden, how could you expect him or his vice president to win, particularly when she wasn't trying to run against him? She ran with his record instead of against his record, knowing those numbers sucked. And that's why I get so pissed off, man. When I hear people saying, why did more people vote for Kamala Harris? It must have been sexism. It must have been racism. Those things always matter. All things matter. Some people only voted for her because of those things. Some people would not vote for her because of those things. Can we concede that? Some people only voted for her because she's a brown woman? Yeah, I can imagine there were a number of women who might not have voted at all had she not been on the ballot. I digress. They blame people for not voting for her when all the terrain said you gotta run against Biden. The man that's been ruled by public opinion as cognitively declined. Cognitively declined. And you still can't say, I do things different than that guy. He's cognitively declined, and he's at a 27% approval rating. People think we're on the right track. And still, when you are asked, what would you do different? You say, nothing comes to mind. Well, that nothing comes to mind means you don't get to win. That's what that means. And she's lucky she didn't get beat by more. The fact she only lost by 250,000 votes across 4 states is a blessing. Like, it should have been bigger than that, in my opinion.
Generic ballot.
What about Congress? No.
What about Congress? Because those are the folks who are up in 2026. And take a look here. The Dems versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot. Back in November of 2020, when Democrats won, it was +5 Democrats. Tied in November of 2022, +1 in November of 2024 when Republicans maintain control. And then you look at March of 2025. This number looks a lot more like 2022 or 2024 when Republicans won control of Congress. The bottom line is, yes, Donald Trump's approval rating is lower than compared to a lot of his predecessors, but it's higher when compared to himself. A lot of folks say the country's on the right track, and the generic congressional ballot looks a heck of a lot more like when Republicans win than when Democrats win.
It will be interesting to see if any of what just happened with these leaking of the text plays into it in a later poll. But this is very telling.
This is very telling. At least at this point, Republicans are still in the catbird seat.
Next.
Leaking of text. That's hilarious. You really think people having faith in the country are going to come down to some text, a text being leaked? Really? That's what it is? I thought you'd at least say something about eggs or something. No one gives a damn about text like that. All right, let's keep going, Johnson. This is good stuff, man. It is what it is. Let's see what the Americans, with America across the board, what we think, you know. I'd like to know what you think. Let me know what you think, guys. Do you feel more confident or less confident in your government going forward? Has Trump taken all the, has he, yeah, that's it, forget it. Do you feel less confident? 0 mean less confident. More confident will be a 1. And let's go with same. Let's put a 2 up. I never do 2s, but I'm gonna do a 2. I'm gonna do a number 2 tonight. So if you feel less confident in the country now than you did before, put a 0. More confident, it's a 1. And the same, because I want to throw you a bone, because I think it's going to be a contentious thing. Let's go with 2, as I feel about the same. All right, let's keep going, Johnson. We got more show to go here on the Tim Black Show. Give it up for Buck Bewley and Black Mama doing the moderating. Thank you, guys.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
What did we learn? High-ranking officials having a thoughtful policy discussion.
Okay, now this is about the Signal debate, the SignalGate. That's our next topic, guys. And I got to say, guys, look, I want to be on the record here about SignalGate. We talked about this before. This was the wrong thing to do, okay? It's wrong that they will be on a commercial out-of-the-box piece of software holding this level of conversation on their, I'm assuming, government devices. And if it's not a government device, it's a device that is approved to use as a government device. Maybe it's a sandbox within the device. Techie people know what I'm talking about. When you got to go on there and get a VPN, maybe use a token or key fob to get into that portion as a password protected area of the phone, which gets very tricky. As being a contractor for government agencies in the technology field, I can say any application that's put on that phone should be protected. It should have the certain type of security parameters within that device. Anything else would be a failure of the company or of the management staff that provides the devices. Donald Trump has nothing to do with the devices. In fact, the defense people have nothing to do with those devices. The technology people that handle those devices have something to do with those devices. So that's important to note. No one's brought it up because I guess someone's geeked out. I guess when Elon Musk does his investigation, he's offered to do an investigation to find out what happened with these devices. Why did text get leaked via the Signal application? Well, not really leaked. Why did someone get invited to a text conversation who should not have been, who was a reporter? Why'd that happen? Okay, it happened because it was allowed to happen because anybody could accidentally hit a name and add an address to a conversation. It should have never happened because that app should not be used for that purpose on government phones to avoid this type of thing from ever happening. That's why. Okay, so it was wrong. The practice was wrong. It should not have occurred. Parameters should have been set up as they call guardrails so that it can't occur by not having the app be there to begin with. Definitely not for that purpose, because you use a signal for precisely the purpose they use it for, to talk with encryption, in a private setting. Virtually. That's what Signal's for. But I don't think it's rated for this level of conversation, definitely not. And why doesn't the White House or our defense agencies, have their own application that's built internally and for this purpose? We should have that. We have enough money to do all types of stuff, studying the mating frequency of the sea turtles in Nairobi, like the sex life of frogs in the Everglades. Like we have all this, money to give to all types of different meaningless types of endeavors. That's what we're discovering, right, with the government of Department of Government Efficiency. It's all coming to light. Well, they could have spent a few $1 million on developing an application that had all these safeguards in it. They could use it, here in our government. So that's it. We're going to go with the program now. That's it. That's my statement on it. I covered it before. Emphatic, no, shouldn't have happened. I happen to know this was a failure. Was it a failure at Trump? Trump probably had no idea what the hell they're using on their phone. This is not like Hillary not knowing she's using a private server at home. This is the defense people using an app on their phones. And I don't think they said, hey, Trump, we're going to use this app on our phones. Is it okay? Like, that's not what happens. But yeah, let's keep going.
Well executing a military plan to take out people who need to be taken out. There was a lot of concern about this national security team when it was appointed that, hey, they didn't really know how to do these jobs.
Yeah.
Given what the U.S. military just did
I think we were
to
right.
the Houthis, given what they just did. And
trying to make a big deal out of this only shows how desperate Democrats are. I looked at the text. Yeah, they're talking about something they're going to do. They never give coordinates of what they're doing it at exactly. They never give names of who's being targeted. Like, there's a lot of stuff not in there. You can get this and say, somebody going to get hurt. That's all. That's all you're going to know. You might know what kind of bombs they're going to drop, but you don't know where exactly. You don't know who the exact targets are. None of that's in there. But the Democrats act like this is a major thing. And this thing go out to the world. It went out to one American journalist who was added to the group, who, by the way, could have removed himself from the group when he realized, what am I doing in here? I mean, if I was on my phone and all of a sudden I was added to a group of people having a conversation about something as sensitive as this, I'd leave. But not this guy. He stayed. And you can say whatever you want to say about it, but he chose to stay. But it's not like it went over live cable news. One guy. And once again, it shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. But to act as if this is the end of days. Now, this is just because the Democrats have nothing else to cheer about. Now they want to say that Trump is ineffective, his administration is garbage. And as Scott Jennings is bringing up, what about the underlining thing they were talking about? They were talking about a successful deployment, if you like war, in bombing people. The Democrats don't want to focus on the operation and the performance of the operation that took place. They want to talk about the administration. They want to talk about the text about the operation, not about the success of the operation. Think about that. You don't want to talk about what they did, because that was successful. Can't bring that up. We got to talk about how they talked about what they were doing, not about the results of what was actually done, which is whack as hell. It just is. I mean, what do you call that?
given the way it was executed and handled at the highest reaches of our government, I have a lot of confidence in the president's decision-making and his top team's ability to carry out.
That is bananas. We just saw.
We did exactly what we wanted to do.
Yes, but one false, one wrong move.
Do you not acknowledge that?
No, it almost blew up.
This is rank incompetence, and I am very fearful.
It's rank incompetence to use a phone, to accidentally tap someone's name, and when you make an invite list, to add an invite person. We've all held meetings. You added contacts to a group chat. We've all done text with family. I got a family chat. You accidentally add someone who's not supposed to be here. Typically, when you add somebody accidentally, it's like, who the hell is this? They go, where am I? Oh, you added me and you removed yourself, or they removed you. That didn't happen. To act like that is rank incompetence, that just shows S.C. Cooper's really still a Democrat. Because no one's, I don't think most people, maybe the way CNN and MSNBC are trying to report it is if it's the destruction of their, republic. Maybe that makes people want to care about it. I don't know. But I mean, once it's put into context, I doubt many people feel that way about it. I mean, not at the end of the days.
Any names in the Signal chat?
No.
Any targets?
No.
Any locations?
No.
Was there a unit name or location of that unit?
There was not.
Were there any routes described in the Signal chat?
No.
Wouldn't an operational plan contain that type of information?
Every operational plan I've ever seen has contained that information.
Thank you. Shifting to the real threats to America, the southern border.
Yeah, that's sort of how the Republicans are playing this one. Well, some of them, and you know, I ain't saying it, man. I agree with them. I mean, it's what you get. You know, nobody wants to talk about Benghazi. No one wants to talk about actual failures, Afghanistan pullouts. This is getting more attention than the Afghanistan pullout, and people died. And that's how bad the Democrats are doing. The level of desperation, folks, is like over the top. I mean, it's gargantuan. How much desperation. It's like, it's disgusting, man, what's going on here. It's a big-ass nothing burger. Yes, you say, no, we need to fix this. It should not happen. It's an error, and we're going to make sure it never happens again because we're going to now crack the whip and make sure we get our phones. And only people can be added are people that are going to be within the intelligence, and make a separate address list for the people that should be privy to this stuff. And that could never happen. But more than that, just replace that app. Never use that app for that purpose. And that should be built just so that you guys can talk uninterrupted on a secure line. That's it. All right, let's keep going, man. God, I can't play this song, man. Damn.
But it risks CNN sources.
Yeah, well, I mean,
this is pretty good. This
immediate operational details of how they're going to handle it
How
today,
they're going to make sure
tomorrow.
that our people overseas are
You're
okay?
interested in throwing them in jail. I'm interested in just
I'm
making
not
sure.
interested in throwing them in jail. I
they-
want people to be safe, and I want to make sure that our military
I just-
doesn't die from another potential leak like this.
I'm sorry, nobody died from this. A,
Well,
B.
they were put at risk.
the
They were
previous-
absolutely put at risk. CNN sources
Yeah, well,
say that.
I mean, how much accountability was meted out upon the previous administration when people did actually die? Zero. But on this issue of an investigation, there's plenty of people.
Of our close allies, we need to notify members of Congress. Other members of the team have different people they need to notify as well, and that was the purpose of why it was set up. Obviously, someone made a mistake. Someone made a big mistake and added a journalist. Nothing against journalists, but you ain't supposed to be on that thing. So they got on there and this happened. I've been, so I can speak to myself or my presence on it. I think my role on it was just speaking for my role. I contributed to it twice. I identified my point of contact, which is my chief of staff. And then later on, I think 3 hours after the White House's official announcements had been made, I congratulated the members of the team. I've been assured by the Pentagon and everyone involved that none of the information that was on there, though not intended to be divulged, obviously that was a mistake and that shouldn't have happened, and the White House is looking at it, but that none of the information on there at any point threatened the operation or the lives of our servicemen. And in fact, it was a very successful operation. It is an ongoing operation. But that was the intent behind it. And again, I think the Pentagon's made clear.
I think really what the people are upset about is that it was a successful operation. That's, I think, what's really the issue. Democrats are looking for a win, and they can't get one. They can't buy a win. And the only thing keeping them in the news is Jasmine Crockett acting crazy. And even that's on the threat of being neutralized because she went a little bit too. She got a little bit drunk off all the attention. So you got to reel that back in. But that's the only thing that's been working for them. This ain't going to do it. You could report on it another 2 days if you want, but this ain't working.
From the highest ranking officials at the agency that was in charge of the actual
After success. So they want to focus on this. It's embarrassing,
Right.
yes. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened. But I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that...
Well, then somebody added him. Someone in your group added the guy. That's how he got in there. This ain't rocket science. Somebody freaking added him. Whoever set up the chat, who has the ability to add people to the conversation? So one of y'all fat fingered or added the guy. Somebody is a friend of his. Somebody has him in their list of contacts. You say the guy's a jackass, he's a scumbag. Well, somebody doesn't think so, and they work with you, and they're a part of your team. They're part of the administration, because that's how he got added. He didn't add himself. Unless you think he's cracking phones. So that's it.
He hates the president, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know what staffer is responsible for this right now?
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the
execute
number? I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number?
Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name, and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? You have somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else. Now, whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical mean is something we're trying to figure out.
So you're
next.
Yeah, it's that. Like I say, folks, I think this is nothing. It didn't turn into anything. It wasn't anything. It was an internal thing. It was not like it added a militant group in Yemen. It's just sitting. Sorry, Democrats. Gonna have to be a little quicker than that. Let's keep going, folks. Give it up for Democrats grasping at straws, Johnson.
On deck with Tim Black.
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every Republican president has always promised to take away this money that's going to these two public news outlets. If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress has backed it. Would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased with the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty. Look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view. You know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it. And it's a waste of money. Especially, I don't even know what DOJ's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse.
Do you believe that America?
Okay, so I want people to understand what's happening here, because I had to look this up myself to kind of get my head around it. So NPR and PBS appeared at congressional hearings today as part of a House subcommittee on delivering on government efficiency hearing titled Anti-American Airwaves, holding the heads of NPR and PBS accountable. The hearing was organized by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, always fun, who chairs the subcommittee to scrutinize the federal funding of NPR and PBS. So remember, this is not about can NPR and PBS do their business. It's what we pay for it. That's all this is. I mean, a lot of people report on this, and they're making it seem like, Trump and the administration are trying to shut down NPR and PBS. Now, you can function just like the Tim Black Show functions, just like DonLemon.com functions, just like Joy Reid functions, just like TYT functions, just like Dr. Umar functions, just like, Tariq Nasheed functions. Everybody, anybody, I'm just naming names. Look, y'all, just like anybody else, independent functions. It's like anybody else's thing that they do. Like, I think to the tune of $500 million or some crazy number, $1 billion or something, is being funded to these people every year. It's important to point out other presidents have been wanting to shut this down too, stop paying for it anyway. and they weren't able to do it. So Green is going to question. They questioned NPR CEO Catherine Mayer and PBS CEO Paula Kurger about perceived political bias in their programming and news coverage, arguing that taxpayer funds should not support what they described as liberal slant or radical left-wing echo chambers. Specific criticism include NPR's handling of the Hunter Biden laptop story, coverage of COVID-19 origins, and alleged failure to report adequately on other politically charged topics. Okay. So here we go. The hearing was part of a broader push by some Republicans in Trump administration and allies to challenge the legitimacy of public funding, with NPR's leadership defending their role in providing fact-based journalism and serving diverse communities across the U.S. Let's go.
America is addicted to white supremacy.
I believe that I tweeted that, and I
today we're well covered.
What I love about this segment with this woman here, Miss Marr, which is the NPR CEO, was funny because she had all of this virtual signaling. I love the blacks. The blacks are cool. Ride with the blacks. It's important to support black people, all this stuff. And then she's going to get questioned on it, and she's going to backpedal out of all that shit. It's like 2020, 2022 all over again. 2024, I don't know. It's so liberal. It's so liberal to do this.
And we don't need it, and it's a waste of money. Especially, I don't even know what Doge's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, has evolved. I believe
relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse.
Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy? Yeah, did that change or something? What happened? Listen to her. This is one of our allies, y'all. Black America, this is your ally.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I'd no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't? You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. How white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
Why come you can't just stand up and say, hey, I said what I need to say back then in order to be popular on Twitter? I said those things because that's what the way the wind was blowing on Twitter, and I wanted to be successful and popular and get this cool job at NPR because she wasn't the NPR president at the time. So she was at the job. Therefore, she was virtual signaling out her ass about all these things that she knew black people want to hear her say, or that she knew that white people want her to say to black people to virtual signal them by meanwhile offering them nothing substantive. That's really what we want to say, right? That's the truth. But nobody can say it. I was just trying to advance myself. I was just trying to look good. I was just trying to fit in. I was just trying to, those are the real answers. But we can't say that because it's too real. We got to lie and say we don't recall.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I've never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, Yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt. Yes, reparations. Yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone
Seems
to pay
to be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe it's morally wrong, though?
Of course.
Look how the pendulum swung. Look at the tide turning. So that's why I say, man, all that talk, all that bluster, man, if people don't offer you anything tangible, who cares what they say? Because it's just talk. It's virtual signaling and trying to advance themselves. That's all it is. That's all it ever was.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
You tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my time
You
at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did read that.
Now, Ms. Kerger, the American people want to know.
You know, remember, we got some Democrats here, too. Mr. Garcia is a Democrat, and he feels they're trying to shut down Sesame Street. Let's go. It's two sides to every coin, right? Let's hear the other side.
Is Elmo now, or has he ever been, a member of the Communist Party of the United States? A yes or no?
No.
Now, are you sure, Ms. Kerger? Because he's obviously red.
Well, he is a puppet, but no.
Now, that's not all. He also has a very dangerous message about sharing and helping each other. He's indoctrinating our kids that sharing is caring. Now, maybe he's part of a major socialist plot, and maybe that's why the chairwoman is having this hearing today. But let's talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Cookie Monster. Now, we know that Health Secretary RFK Jr. is coming out against fast food and baked goods. Are we silencing pro-cookie voters? Yes or no? Ms. Kerger.
But cookies are a sometime food.
Well, thank you. And now, I agree with you. And let's also talk about the most important, maybe, character on Sesame Street. This is actually Big Bird. Now, Ms. Kerger, since Elon Musk actually fired USDA workers who have been working on the bird flu, does it make sense to also fire Big Bird? Yes or no?
We would like to keep Big Bird.
I completely agree with you. And now it gets even worse. Now, this is actually
This is your Congress. This is what people get paid $200,000 a year to talk about, not including all the cheap inside information they get about stocks to make some millions.
a tweet that Big Bird actually sent out about the COVID-19 vaccine, encouraging folks to actually get their vaccination, which, of course, we believe in vaccines. Now, perhaps the reason why we're having this hearing is because our chairwoman, Ms. Green, has actually said some really negative things about getting vaccinations. And that perhaps is why we are here. And so we support Big Bird being pro-vaccine and promoting vaccines across this country. Now, I will admit, though, the extreme liberal agenda that you're all pushing, I think, doesn't stop there. This, of course, is Bert and Ernie. Now, these two guys actually live together. They're friends. They're supportive of each other. Now, that might be triggering to our chairwoman and some on this committee, and perhaps that's also why we're here today. Ms. Kerger, an important question. Are Bert and Ernie part of an extreme homosexual agenda?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Kerger, and thank you for being a good sport. Now, I'm obviously using some humor here, but the fact that we're sitting here today talking about defunding public television is actually not funny. At a time where we can't agree on basic facts, and while the free press is under attack, we need public media like PBS and NPR more than ever. A large majority of Americans say they trust PBS. And that's exactly why extremists are trying to tear it down. Public broadcasting is a tool for education, for emergencies, and a cherished part of our national fabric. We get huge benefits from a tiny federal investment. The majority and our chairwoman should drop this attempt to silence media voices they don't like. So the message, I think, today is very, very simple. If we're going to get rid of any puppeteers, we should get rid of the one that's actually controlling Donald Trump. Fire Elon Musk and save Elmo. And with that, I yield back.
About emergency management, and they don't care.
That was pretty good. I give it up for that guy. He's insufferable in most cases, but with the props, I think it gave you just enough of him to make him tolerable. Yo, yeah. Let's keep going. Mark, let's hear Jasmine Crockett. She's going to say a little bit here. I mean to step on her intro. I don't think she's going to make any references to Governor Abbott, so let's go.
Elmo. And with that, I yield back.
About emergency management, and they don't care about free speech, all of which are harming American people. In fact, I'm going to skip off real quick because they have tried to come for you, Ms. Mayor, and I just want to clarify, you did not work for NPR when those statements were made, did you?
That is correct, Madam
And to
Chair.
be clear, free speech is not about whatever it is that y'all want somebody to say. And the idea that you want to shut down everybody that is not Fox News is bullshit. We need to stop playing because that's what y'all are doing in here. You don't want to.
Yeah, the very day, everyone's like, she needs to, she's like, I'm defiant. I'm going to go on the floor and drop the, she don't care, man.
Hear the opinions of anybody else, and the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has expired. In fact, when Elon Musk put his hand over his heart and extended it and told the American people his heart goes out to them, PBS News posted the clip, called it a fascist Nazi salute, and described how it was similar to the same Heil used by Nazis at their victory rallies. Not once did PBS or NPR report on the numerous accounts of Democrats making the same gesture. AOC, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, Elizabeth Warren, somebody that lost a presidential race, Hillary Clinton, Governor Tim Walz. Why wasn't this treated exactly the same way? Is there not a standard in journalism today? Apparently not.
Former senior business editor for NPR.
How long do you work at NPR?
I believe he was there just over 25 years.
25 years? Award-winning journalist? Did he win any awards?
Our time did not
Peabody
overlap.
Award? That's pretty important, isn't it?
That is,
So
absolutely.
pretty distinguished journalist, right?
Certainly.
And he wrote a long story about what you do at NPR. Is NPR biased?
Congressman, I have never seen any instance of political bias determining editorial decisions. No.
Well, Mr. Berliner, in his story last year, wrote, in the D.C. area, editorial positions at NPR, he said he found 87 registered Democrats, 0 Republicans. Is that accurate?
We do not track the numbers or the voter registration, but I find that
Was award-winning journalist who worked 25 years at NPR, Mr. Berliner, was he lying when he wrote that?
I am not presuming such. I just we don't track that information about our journalists.
87 to 0, and you're not biased?
I think that is concerning if those numbers are accurate.
It's concerning. I mean, it wasn't 44-43. It wasn't 60-27. It wasn't 70-17. It wasn't even 80-7. It was 87 Democrats, 0 Republicans, and you say NPR is not biased. How about the big stories over the last few years? According to Mr. Berliner, again, he wrote on the Trump-Russia story, he wrote, at NPR, we hitched our wagon to Trump's most visible antagonist, Representative Adam Schiff. They said they interviewed him 25 times. Is that accurate?
I was not there at the time, but those numbers sound accurate. Yes.
Those sound accurate. But then he said when the Mueller report came out and Robert Mueller said he found no evidence of collusion, he said Russiagate faded from our programming. Is that accurate?
Again, I was not there at the time. I couldn't say.
You couldn't say?
I was not at NPR at the
You
time.
didn't prepare for that? You knew we were going to ask you about this guy, didn't you? It's come up like 6,000 times already in the hearing.
I just couldn't say whether it faded from our coverage, sir.
How about this story? October 2020, the New York Post had the Hunter Biden laptop story, and one of those editors, though the lab leak is what most people think,
of most
maintain that NPR is not biased.
Congressman, I do not believe we are politically biased. No, we are a nonpartisan organization.
Nonpartisan organization.
NPR and PBS have increasingly become radical left-wing echo chambers for a narrow audience of mostly wealthy, white, urban liberals and progressives who generally look down on and judge rural America. PBS News is not just left-leaning, but it is actively uses taxpayer funds to push some of the most radical left positions, like featuring a drag queen on the show Let's Learn, a show targeted toward young children ages 3 to 8 years old. I want you to know I grew up watching children's programming on PBS. And as a mother who raised 3 children, I felt confident that I could leave the room while my own children were watching children's programming on PBS. But I can tell you right now, Ms. Kruger, specifically, as a mother, if I had walked in my living room or one of my children's bedrooms and seen this child predator and this monster.
Oh, God. She called her a child predator. This child predator. You don't know that. Just because someone dresses a certain way doesn't mean they prey on children, man. That's rich. That's rich. That's too far.
Targeting my children, I would become unglued. And that is how most parents feel all over this country.
I would have come unglued. I think you're already unglued there, MTG. Yeah, you're already unglued. I don't think you've ever been glued up. I think that's part of the problem. There's no glue. It's a Scotch tape holding you together, sister. Wow. Is anybody of reason? Do I have anybody on reason on this thing? It's going to be a little bit more. Here we go. This guy, I think this guy, it's going to be a little bit better here.
With these people, they're a threat.
At one point in time, there was very limited access to news, and there was an appropriate time where potentially we needed to have state-sponsored news. But is that the way? Do we need that today?
No, we do not. And may I quote Thomas Jefferson on this very point, since you bring this up? He said, "To compel a man to furnish contributions of money for the propagation of opinions which he disbelieves and abhors is sinful and tyrannical." This is what I base my opposition to public funding for media.
Next on deck with Tim.
Yeah, once upon a time, I agree. Once upon a time, it was different. There was less access to news. People weren't able to get it. I mean, weren't that many channels when NPR and PBS were originated? You know what I'm saying? So it made sense for the government to fund something that just gave people the updates about the news. But now it's gone. Hey, come on, guys. For anybody pretending NPR does not have a bit that is liberal bias and PBS the same way, it's just not living in reality. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. It's undeniable. And I don't know what people were thinking. They were thinking that maybe, I don't know, that Trump wasn't going to Trump when Trump got in office. I don't know. I guess they thought he would be like Biden and focus on opening up the border, closing, like he wouldn't focus on stuff. And yeah, Trump is doing the opposite of Biden. Biden did things, and Trump's doing things, and they're just different focus. That's all it is. I think that NPR and PBS are biased. I don't want to pay for them. I don't. You know, as hard as the media game is, I don't think you should be propped up by other people's money to make a losing product. This product that you're watching is a sustainable product. That's why I've been able to do it, because I have no infusion of any outside money. It's because people want to watch it. And when people don't want to watch it, it will go away. So that's how it should work. And if people want to really watch NPR and PBS do what they do, then I guess they would support it. You know? That's all I can say. And if it takes a subsidy from the government to keep it afloat, maybe that's not what we should be doing. That's all I'm saying. And if people feel that the content on it is not something they want their taxpayers' money going to, then they should be able to voice that. Yeah. All right, guys, we're almost done. I got one more last ring of stories. It's going to be about this is about Venezuelan deportations. And there's been a lot of blowback about this for some reason. And I got to say this, man, before we even get started. Now, maybe I'll save it for after. I'll save my speeches for after. Let's go to deportations in Venezuela. Look, guys, our goal tonight was 400 likes. Can we get 400 likes on the content, please? Hit the like button on YouTube. Let the YouTube algorithm know that the show is dope. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you like the show. It helps us in the algorithm. Same thing on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, how about my people on X? X gonna give it to you. All right, folks. Last one. Let's run. Let's finish with a bang for people. We can do this.
Black.
I think these are not just Democrat. I know these are not just Democratic voters. These are actually a lot of Republican voters. And respect to my sister Leah here, because I appreciate your point. They are.
I'll give you every dollar in my pocket
to
fund one Republican.
The professional courtesy to finish my point. They are. According to the reporting, they are. According to videos, they are. You're saying don't believe your eyes and ears. I have seen with my eyes and ears.
Of the two of us, who would know more about Republicans, me or you?
Okay, so that's an argument about the town halls. Tiffany Cross is arguing that the people at the Republican town halls are Republicans. And Scott Jennings is saying it doesn't appear that those people are Republicans. Because of their talking points are very much anti-Republican. So look, it is what it is. And Tiffany says she just knows because she knows. And Scott's saying, no, I know because I know. And it is what it is.
They're not Republicans in that meeting.
Between the two of us, who's more trustworthy? I would argue me. I'm not here defending this ridiculous administration. But I would say, can I just say, though, quickly, I would not conflate January 6th protesters with George Floyd protesters. I think that is completely different. These were people who were trying to overthrow elections. I think there was a legitimate protest. The Republican voters who do exist, who are there to confront they are. We can agree on basic facts. They are.
I'll give you $100
if I can have the professional courtesy to finish my point.
To the last word here.
Can I finish my quick point? I just think for the people who voted for this and are unhappy with it, of which there are plenty of people.
There are none.
Okay, there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people who are not happy with this. I do feel a certain sense of live in it and sit in it, because you all did the effing around and we are doing the finding out. So I don't have a lot of empathy for it.
We're talking about the Alien Enemies Act here. We're talking about using this wartime powers to attract what they call gang members.
Issue, and the way that these people are treated is complete.
Okay, now we're to the part I thought we were going to be in. Jesus Christ. Woo! All right, so now they're going to talk about the deportation of Venezuelan migrants and who they were assumed were part of the TNA, which is a Venezuelan gang, El Salvadoran gang, I guess. What is it? I don't know. It's a gang. Okay. You remember a couple of weeks ago or last week, Trump had them put on a plane, sent to El Salvadorian prison, and paid for that to happen. And Tiffany Cross and a number of liberals, Democratic Party as a party, has a stance that should not have happened. So here we go.
Completely inhumane. And the fact of the matter is, if these were white babies being stripped from their families, if these were white men with families, there would be a whole different level of humanity extended to them. And I don't see that happening. The way these people are treated is absolutely criminal.
Yeah. Scott, very quickly. I mean, obviously, there's a huge dispute between the executive branch and the judiciary over who's got what authority to do what here. I think the Trump administration has an argument to make. It's not going to be sorted out at the district or even Court of Appeals level. At some juncture, because it is a serious separation of powers issue, the Supreme Court has to step in. By the way, you invoked the word inhumane. I would just point out that I don't think Jessica Nungare or Laken Riley or any other victims of some of these illegal immigrants and gang members, they weren't treated very humanely. And I think what Trump is responding to is an outcry from the American people to solve this issue, to get the criminals out, and That's what they're doing. That's what they believe their mandate is to do. And I think there are legal arguments to be made, but you cannot deny that the American people are giving them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to exiting from the country these animals.
No,
as a patriot, Scott, I find it really troubling because they ran on this whole idea of this pseudo-patriotism, this regressive masculine patriotism, yet everything they're doing runs against making America great.
Well,
it was never great, so I'm not going to say the again part, but making America great. You're trying to defend the indefensible. Yeah, I absolutely feel that way. I absolutely feel that way. And I think if you had the history that my people had in this country, that you might have a modicum of understanding and respect for that. America was never great for me.
I think when we talk later about why the Democratic Party is so unpopular,
I'm not here to represent the Democrats. I'm here representing me, and I think it is a common understanding that America may have been great for you. It was not great for me.
What's that got to do when we talk about the Venezuelan people getting deported? I just hate when they conflate. I hate when I hear them conflate and start bringing up Black America. Venezuelans had nothing to do with Black America. And these people that look like they were gang members and they had gang tattoos and stuff on them, that has nothing to do with Black America and our fight for justice in our own country that we built against our will. What's that got to do with each other? Stop using Black people suffering, our historical treatment in this country, our own issues, our own arguments for everybody else. This segment has nothing at all to do with foundational Black Americans. And Tiffany Cross, and this is really egregious because Tiffany Cross is somebody who downplayed Black Americans, wanting to be foundationally Black and delineate from all these other groups that are trying to throw in here and just dilute our claim and our story and our issues and our demands of our country that we helped build. So, I hate when this is done. I hate this. I detest. I can't adequately express my level of frustration when I see this happening because it is self-serving. And she's doing it here just to try to make a statement because she doesn't get a lot of airtime anymore. Tiffany, this is not right for you to come out here and do this, just throwing anything against the wall. Continue to talk about the Venezuelan gang members that you're here defending. Talk about them. That's what you need to defend. Not Black America, Black again, or great again. That whole argument that we've been talking about since 2015. Really? Really? That was originated with Ronald Reagan, and it was also used by Bill Clinton and Al Gore. Same saying that Trump did not even invent, that a Democrat ran on, and no one said anything. We're going to derail the whole conversation for this? Come on, y'all. Stop agreeing with her just because she's Black. She's wrong. She's wrong. And our arguments and our legacy and our pain and struggle should only get used and hijacked for Democrats to make stupid points. And this ain't even got nothing to do with us. Invoking us on nonsense. To get a news cycle because the Griot, Atlantic Black Star, and the rest of y'all will cover it when they're saying it's bullshit. They got nothing to do with anything. Very unserious.
I think there are people who want her to fulfill that promise. But the point of this discussion right now is the national security of this country, which your party put at risk. I'm not a member of the Democratic Party. I'm not here to represent them. But for me as a journalist.
Now we're talking about the Signal leak. Okay. Hillary Clinton on leak. Okay.
I'm telling you, this was a huge problem. So instead of attacking Jeffrey Goldberg, what they could do is act like men and own this mistake since they ran on this regressive masculinity campaign.
Tulsi Gabbard is a woman. So you just marginalize the woman as a head of the Secret Service. I mean, the security apparatus. Okay.
Like men and say, you know what, we failed. But instead what you heard was this president yet again lie and say, oh, I don't know anything about it. Soon enough it's going to be, I don't know this Hexef guy that well. It's a consistent party of lies with this guy. And it's disturbing that there are so many people willing to defend this instead of saying, yes, this is a problem. They have not taken responsibility.
It's not a problem. It's an accident. It's something that should not have occurred. It was a mistake. It's not a problem. A problem is something that is ongoing. A mistake is a one-time off event, which appears is what this is. And the mission was successful and there were no casualties on the American side. So that's what you call a win. That's all it is. But yeah, okay. Tiffany's really good at throwing men under the bus. This time she's throwing white men and then just men in general. I don't know why people like it.
We can set aside our political differences.
The White House has literally admitted that the messages are authentic.
Who?
And that
Donald Trump didn't admit
Brian
this.
Hughes, the spokesperson for the National Security Council.
Well, the president didn't.
So there you go. And number two,
we just heard from people that said he didn't.
They have said they're looking into and trying to figure out how this happened. You know, you raised the issue of patriotism. I think the Patriotic Act was what the president did in ordering the strikes in the first place. Go back in time. It was Biden who took the Houthis off the terrorist list and let this problem fester for 4 years. The only reason this situation occurs today is because they've been harassing ships, harassing our Navy, and finally Trump shows up, redesignates them, goes to war.
The ships are still not using the Red Sea, though.
Goes to war.
The ships have not returned to the Red Sea.
And the strike and the military precision at which it was carried out was incredible. So what we have here, you raise the issue of patriotism. The Patriotic Act is for the commander-in-chief to do the right thing, which he did in ordering the strike in the first place.
This could have been solved in a regular immigration process where we would have seen, hey, you're a member of a gang. You can't come in. Right. Hey, you're not a member of a gang. You're welcome to come in.
Tiffany?
I don't think that is how it goes. And if we want to keep talking about the Joe Biden administration, then we can rewind time. But the fact of the matter is, when Donald Trump was in office the first time, he was a champion of separating families. And as a result of that, John, I just want to say...
She said he was a champion of separating families. It's like if you let her just talk and just say things, yo. Wow. Okay. You know, Americans get separated all the time when they're put in jail. That's all that happened. People went to jail, Johnson. You know, they're a champion for separating families. Let's let her finish it. Let her finish it out, Tim.
Over 1,300 children remain lost. I do not trust this administration.
We're talking about the Alien Enemies Act here. We're talking about using this wartime powers to attract what they call gang members. But there is still a human rights issue. And the way that these people are treated is completely inhumane. And the fact of the matter is, if these were white babies being stripped from their families, if these were white men with families, there would be a whole different level of humanity extended to them. And I don't see that happening.
You know what's going to happen here, and I hate to say it, Johnson, but it's going to be a long, cold winter the next 3.5 years. That's 3.75 years. For people that only have one note, and that is black people. Black people, black people, black people, white supremacy. It's going to be a long, cold year. Long, cold 3 years, man. 3.5, almost 4 years. Look, and I pointed this out before, and some people don't want to hear, but it's the facts, man. America don't care about poor white people either, Johnson. You know, this idea that if it was white people who they thought were gang members, they would have never deported them. I don't know. I thought Venezuelans were white. If you're not an illegal immigrant or undocumented immigrant, you don't get deported, right? So that's the really operative term. This was not about race or color. This is about you're an undocumented immigrant and they think that you are a member of a gang. Now, I do want to say, it's come to my attention, there was at least one person they believe who was deported to this place in El Salvador who was not a member of a gang. That should be the conversation. And maybe it was, and maybe the clips I got don't focus on it. Because that, my friends, now that's tough. That's tough. I find that more than, I don't even have words for the appalling, like the visceral, like that's cold. Person that's not a gang member gets deported, gets mistaken to be a gang member and is deported to a country they don't know anything about in the conditions of that jail, or what the treatment that they're probably subjected to in that prison. I mean, that's horrific, Johnson. That's horrific. That's the world's worst nightmare. I mean, that's tough. So that's one of the things I wanted to point out here. Tiffany ran in so many directions. Jesus Christ. Miss Cross ran in so many directions here. I don't know what to say to her except, like, yo, it's going to be a cold, long winter, man, if everything is about black and white. I mean, Newsflash, America separates white families every day. It's called prison system. Every day. Without fail. Set your clock to it. It separates black Americans too. It does. I report on it all the time. It separates us all. America's number one. They're locking up people in the Western world. Nobody else locks up more people than our justice system. So our justice system separates American citizens from their kids every day. And that's just looking at the justice system. Let's not even talk about CPS and this child protective stuff. All the other systems that do the same thing. Okay? So, to say that that's just, to make that racial, like we're coming to non-American citizens, you're jumping over. It just illustrates how much you don't want to talk about the issue at hand, which is immigration. Because that's why they were deported. If not, if they were American citizens in the gang, they may go to jail, but they go to jail here. Here. So instead of having a conversation about the migration, the immigration, the migrant conversation, we're having a conversation about Make America Great Again and white supremacy. Anyway, I think it's a waste of time. And I haven't seen Tiffany Cross for quite some time. I thought maybe she'd come back a little bit better. It's the same, talks really fast, doesn't really say a whole lot, and it's not much I can agree with. I just said. And some of the talking points are left in her head or stored on her hard drive from when she was formally booted up. Last time she was booted up, she said the same shit. 2019, she was saying to boot it up, we need to clear the cache. Let's clear the resident, the memory, the residing memory from the last time you were, operated. Because this is old. It seems like you're stuck in a time warp, sis. Cut it out. Let's be serious. You knew you were coming on TV today. Let's talk about what's happening today. It's got to be tough in a room full of vipers. I felt like she was like on her own in there. But I don't know. Yeah. All right, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think about this. It is what it is. Let's be serious. All right, my name is Tim Black. Let's go to the comment section and see what we got here, Johnson. We got Black Mama giving somebody a certificate of gift membership. Thank you, Black Mama, for the love. Spice Radio 504. I need to join the Wolf Pack. I got my popcorn. That's it, Spice Radio 504. Thank you. Elizabeth Looney with a super sticker. Thank you, Elizabeth. Trust no parties in the house. I appreciate you. M. Sparks came through. Thank you, my friend. I don't know what that means, but okay. Popadea Shelley, found out that I'm close to losing my second job due to the huge influx of immigrants. Pushed into the trucking industry. Nobody cares about us, though. I know, brother. I try to care, fam. Did not get labeled because I don't care about the other people that are trying to push you out of, that are coming here for a better life. Yo, if we, it's obvious that people do not want to prioritize us. They think prioritizing us is demonizing others. That's only because they're not the ones that this is impacting. That's all it is. You make sense of looking healthy. Bless you. Bless you back. Trust no party. Thank you. Trust. Yeah, man, I'm getting better. It's been interesting. I'm telling you, man, if this is a one-time appearance thing, one-time thing, if you go through something and you come out of it, I personally like to try to get something out of anything that happens. So I'm hoping that I'm a lot more thankful for my health and I'm making better decisions every day. So shout out to the Simple Black Wolfpack who cheered me on and supported me during this crisis. And I don't like making myself the focal point of this, but the glasses hopefully will be gone soon. We can be back to Tim Black, but almost there, not quite. All right, guys, nothing but love for you. Nothing but love for you. I'll be back tomorrow. More content. Let's get up out of here. Have a great evening. Be safe. Safe travels tomorrow. I see you back here on the Tim Black Show. Remember, like I always say, don't let anybody take your cornbread. That's your cornbread. Keep your cornbread. It's hard not to put a little extra spin on the ball. You know, it's hard not to put a little extra umph in the punch. You know what I'm saying? I do it. I've had people tell me, Tim, you don't have to be so bombastic when you deliver content. I'm like, well, you know, I know. So people tell me the same thing. Why is it when you tell it to Jasmine Crockett, you know, people attack you like you're not saying something that everybody else gets to hear? I hear the same things about myself, you know, but I'm not a congressperson. You know, it's different, I think. But I hear it. It's going to be critics of delivery. I don't personally think Marjorie Taylor Greene has a very articulate delivery method. I don't know what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, it's what it is. But we've been roasting Marjorie Taylor Greene for 5 years. And Jasmine Crockett is being amplified by her party to such an extent that Marjorie Taylor Greene never got. She's getting, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is. You know, it is what it is. All right, guys. Number love for you. See you soon. And like I always say, you can contact me at tim@timblackTV.com. tim@timblackTV.com. Thanks for the story suggestions and the articles and stuff people send me, man. I appreciate it. It makes my job a little bit easier. And it also helps me know what you want. You know what I'm saying? What's interesting to you, which is very important. Go get a Tim Black mug at timblackmug.com. timblackmug.com. That's it, y'all. Oh, y'all see it right there on the screen. You just got over here. Got over here. Got everywhere. Tim Black, I love you. And as always, where are my ladies? These are my babies right here, y'all. One is missing, but these are my babies.